Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna do a Crusader Cup today. The Scotcheroo from Bones Coffee Company. It's good stuff. Highly, highly, highly recommend if you want to try something fun and different. And you like butterscotch. I mean, you should probably like butterscotch and caramel and chocolate. If you don't like those, oh, hello, beans. Beans are just everywhere today. If you don't like that combination or any of those one things, you'll probably not like this. Just saying it out loud. Why? I wonder why you came from all directions. Might have been some stuck up at the top. So we're gonna do this at about a 53, about 35, 53. I'm reading backwards today, I guess. 35. We're gonna do about 35 grams of this delicious, wonderful coffee, deposited through our Chahi, originally designed for tea distribution. This has come to prominence in coffee people to, make a nice way to weigh and then put it in, because I used to use this, which that's not a bad thing, it worked, and then you just kind of picked it up and you used the corner to deposit everything in there, and it worked just fine. There was absolutely nothing wrong with using this. I was just watching trends on Instagram, and I'm like, what is that cool thing? And then I found it, and I found that there are some that are incredibly expensive that are laser etched from crystal that was dug out of the ground for thousands of dollars. Or these porcelain ones that have a really nice smooth base that everything comes off of, and it's got a nice point on the end that directs all of the coffee grounds for about $10. I went the $10 route. Maybe someday I'll have a crystal one. Then I've made it, or made something. Like a drug deal or something, I don't know. It's really kind of funny. I was thinking about this the other day, how everything seems to be happening more and more and more often. Like you'll be online, you're watching a stream of consciousness on Instagram, and then randomly, somehow you'll find a video of someone being a complete and total prick through someone else's doorbell camera, and they don't answer the doorbell, because you don't. Why would you? If you're not expecting company, why would you answer a doorbell? You don't want solicitors at your house. You don't have a chimney, so you don't need a chimney sweep. Those kind of things. Why answer your phone to unsolicited guests? Or answer your phone or your front doorbell. People are like, that's rude, and I'm like, no, that's progress. There's no reason for me to answer the front doorbell if I don't know who you are, and you can, if you're selling something, I don't want it. I'll find it myself somewhere else if that's something that I want. I wouldn't want a salesperson. I mean, those days have moved on, but people still cling to the whole solicitation doorbell stuff, and it's just, people need to move on. But it's just really funny, because you see that kind of stuff, and then you see so many comments of people saying, I've never seen that before, that's horrible, what a terrible thing. And it's what's really funny is that's been happening for decades, centuries, where a neighbor who is bored and retired is nosy and comes to your house and is like, I saw you bought a new car. How much did that cost? I don't know if you can afford that or not. Those kind of things. Just terrible people doing terrible things. And it's just something that we see more of now, even though maybe the volume hasn't necessarily gone up on the people that do that. I mean, people that do that. They're not just suddenly brave enough to get up and go to someone else's house and do that. They do that constantly. It's just now we've got them caught on camera, being shown that you're this terrible person and you've been doing it for years, But people come at it like, wow, everything's escalating. It's just getting worse and worse. No, not necessarily. I mean, as I said, someone that would come and knock on your door to make a complaint is not someone who just got the gumption to do it. It's someone that's been doing it to everybody else, and now suddenly they have a complaint for you, so now they're at your doorbell. And you just so happen to have a Ring doorbell so that you can record it, and now she's viral, or he's viral, or they're viral, you know? So it's just fascinating to me how everybody's in their own little pockets, you know, which is the way it's been for, like I said, centuries. Everyone's in their own little pockets, in their own neighborhoods, in their own little worlds. And then something outside of that world is shown, and either it's the worst thing they've ever seen in their lives, or, oh my God, that had to have been staged. No one can have an interaction like that ever. How is that even possible? Somebody must have made it up. And, you know, is it possible it could have been made up? I guess, but it's really strange that your first reaction upon seeing something outside of the world is that can't be real. You know, someone at one point said water flows out of mountains, down waterfalls, and into streams, and someone in the desert that had never seen anything except the desert was like, that's bullshit, that's nonsense, that's garbage, what are you talking about? You're making that up. You know, and it's just been that way throughout the centuries. And it's, you know, and we see more and more mass media, and I've said how terrible mass media can be, you know, bullying, hurting other people, spreading propaganda, you know, but that same mass media does wonderful things. It shows a trans individual living in a community by themselves that 3 towns over, there is a small community of trans people who are doing and thriving and working, and there's hope. You know, that's big. That's a wonderful thing. Or even a state over, oh my gosh, there are more people like me here. Can I move? Maybe I should try interacting with them. You know, that can go in many different ways. But, you know, the main thing is they're not alone. Now they see they have a community thanks to the wonderful thing that is the internet. Oops, we're spitting. I may have put a little too much in there. It's just water. I'll use it later. Probably use it tomorrow. I may have put too much in there. So, I mean, and you know, and people are waking up to communities that are not the same as theirs. And how is such a thing possible? How can someone actually do that to someone else? It doesn't make any sense in my own little world. It must be fake. It must not be real. And, you know, I guess I kind of understand the initial reaction because it's such a surprising, shocking thing. Someone having the gall to come over to someone else's house. And that was a viral thing that I saw, I don't know, about a week ago, where someone came up to someone else's house and said, you can't park your Bentley out here. Is this even your car? And they're talking to them through the Ring, and the person's like, yeah, that's my car. How can you afford such a thing? You must be a drug dealer. And that was a thing. That was a thing that happened a couple of, I don't know, maybe about a week ago. Of course, with the way the internet comes and the way I experience content sometimes, it could have happened 3 years ago. And, you know, it's just showing up now in my small little feed, in my small little world. So my first thought wasn't, you know, oh my God, that's fake. My first thought was, oh my God, I worked in customer service for 20 years. I'm going to do a 500. I'm going to do a 500. Yeah. I worked in customer service for 20 years, and those people exist. Those people will come to you and just be terrible people for the sake of being a terrible person. And a lot of times it's mental illness. They're lonely. They live alone because they've lost a spouse at one point. They live alone because their children won't visit them because they're like this, you know, many different reasons. And so those of us who live within a community full of people who we do care about and who we want to be around will see such a thing and immediately think that must not be real. That must be staged. And, you know, it just so happens that it wasn't, or it isn't. You know, it's an actual thing with actual people doing actual terrible things that doesn't make any sense logically in our own little worlds, you know. And I have not watched the new Star Wars series. I think the last one I watched was the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, no, it was Obi-Wan. I watched Obi-Wan. I think that was the last one I watched. I loved Obi-Wan. I thought that was great. I thought the Book of Boba Fett was really good. I watched The Mandalorian up to, what was it, the end of season 2. I've not watched anything new on that, but I enjoyed it. It was great. So this new Acolyte, there are terrible people online pretending this isn't Star Wars. And in the very beginning of the very first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, it said, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And what a lot of people can't quite grasp is that a galaxy is larger than 6 planets. You know? There's more to the galaxy than a single solar system where they seem to travel. And, diversity in a galaxy. I mean, you want to talk about diversity in a neighborhood. Let's talk about diversity in a galaxy, And people can't fathom, oh my gosh, there's just too many women, that's a complaint. And I'm sure, and a lot of the misogyny boils down to that. A lot of the people being off-put by it tend to be young men on YouTube screaming at the top of their lungs. And it all boils down to, Jedi wouldn't do that. Why are these Jedi different? Well, but that's the thing, is that you're in a galaxy far, far away, in a galaxy full of diversity. I mean, it's not just like on the planet Tatooine. It's a galaxy of diversity. The woman from The Matrix, whom I wish I could remember her name directly, but she's really good. I really like her work. She's pretty excellent in what she does, I personally think. I have that movie, that book, that silly little book that I've been writing since 2019. She's like one of the people I would love to cast as the mother of the main figure, just because she's got depth and she's a badass, so you can see someone, even though she's the mother of a 40-some-odd-year-old person right now that can recover quickly from something. It's strength in character and that kind of a thing, It's like between her and Katie Seagal, because I love Katie Seagal. In my mind, this is... I have a cast of characters for this thing, and I've got the whole damn thing planned out and blocked out in my head how I want things. In the shower this morning, I was thinking about how I wanted to block out the initial first scene at the very beginning. I was just doing that in my head for shits and giggles, because I know nothing's ever going to come with it. Feeling like this is your best idea, your best story that you've ever come up with, and people criticizing it and, saying that it's bad. I have a bad enough swings of depression. I don't need that. And secondly, with all of this AI bullshit that's happening right now, I just feel like it would be stolen if I put it out there, I mean, you copyright something, how do you do that? I don't have the money to do something like that. I mean, I have something on a Word doc that started back in 2019. That's the biggest. That's the only way I have to prove that it was my idea. And it's like, people steal stuff left and right, and then the people who get stolen from, they don't really have any advocacy. All this AI stuff that's happening right now is really depressing. Delicious. You can't go wrong with a medium fine grind on this Crusader Cup going through a Chemex. It's almost like autopilot. Other than managing the water, making sure you get the ratios right, and keeping yourself a nice flow on a bed, keeping it churned up, giving a little bit of a swirl before you take it off and let everything pass through. It's just that extra effort. Automatic filter coffee. just that extra effort, you know, filling a reservoir, watching it go through. I mean, but you know, and the heads and the shower heads on those things, they're just a single stream that goes straight down. They make the ugliest craters. With this, it's a lot more hands-on. You can swirl, you can make sure the water goes everywhere, not just in one spot. So you're channeling, so all of the coffee gets nice and wet, and you're extracting all that wonderful coffee from it. And this is just such a fun coffee to get started on a coffee journey with, because you can kind of pick and choose through Bones Coffee what you want your, I don't think would I call it a primary flavor? Because these aren't notes, you know, these are beans that are treated and given flavor other than the natural coffee flavor. So I guess primary flavor in this is the scotcheroo, which is the butterscotch and the caramel and the chocolate. And then the secondary flavor, although I don't think it's that far behind in second, is coffee. So something like this, you know, you find something, I like raspberry, maybe raspberry would taste nice, and it does taste nice. They have a pistachio one that tastes really good. The key lime one tastes really nice if you like key lime pie. It's, you know, it's just one of those things. It's a great way to get into fun, and I would call this a specialty kind of coffee. I guess I would more call it like a candy coffee. It's not sweet, it just has those flavors. But I would kind of call that a candy coffee. And it's really, really good. Thank you for watching this morning. I really appreciate it. I'm going on a camping trip, as far as I know, tomorrow. So, and I don't know how early we're gonna leave, probably fairly early. I'm gonna have a carload of stuff, a tent, air mattress, pillow, and a chair at the very least. And then, you know, various types of food. I don't know what this place looks like. I can't wait. It'll be fun. And I'll try to remember to take pictures, and we'll share that on Tuesday of next week. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.